Sir Tavren, second of his name, staggered beneath the arching limbs of the crimson-barked trees, blood in his beard and a raw panic in his throat. Once a decorated knight and sworn sword of his house, he was now caked in ash and filth, his cuirass split in two, his honor in tatters. The air was thick with the stench of rotting greenery, and somewhere behind him, shrill screams echoed around the surrounding trees. They had stopped to rest. God forgive them. They had no choice. 3 days' travel from the healer's spire, and Willowin could go no further. Her leg had swollen from the fang of a glass-scaled wormling back at the ravine. Each step left her sobbing and delirious. Tavern had made the call. A fire, a moment's breath, just long enough for her and the rest of the convoy to gather strength. But they never saw it coming. The shadows erupted with motion, not men, not elves, not even the beasts Tavren knew. Lurching, six-limbed horrors with bone-white eyes and gaping maws, fangs long and curved like scythes, skin cracked and tough like bark soaked in bubbling tar. They came in silence and struck like thunder in a storm, circling the camp in a breath. The fire hissed out in a shower of embers as the first shriek tore through the trees. Raemisa, the daughter of Dornmere, was the first to scream. Tavern drew steel in response. He had nothing left but his father's ebony longsword and a half-spent coin purse of wyvern dust from Dunhollow's arcanist. He cut 2 down, or at least he thought he did, before the others surged. They played with the misguided party, toyed with their prey, and the forest fiends were in full control. They separated them with cunning, dragging swordsmen and void-wielders into the gloom, one by one. Tavern tried to reach Raemisa, seeing her fall again and again, watching as claws raked her shoulders and teeth gnawed at her limbs. He shouted her name until it was a curse, but the more he cut down, the more emerged to block his path. At the peak of the mayhem, the forest of Pararock Grove had one final dark twist to play. Vines, living, writhing, slithered from underground like serpents. One snapped around Raemisa's ankle. She shrieked, flailing, clawing the ground as she was dragged screaming into the moss. Tavren dug deep, forced the beasts from his path, and ran as fast as he could. Leaping into the air at full stretch, he slammed hard into the ground and slid towards her helpless body. He caught her hand, bloodied, mud-stained, shaking, and warm. "Hold on," he roared, but the pull of the grove was too strong. Yanking hard, her fingers slipped and her screams vanished into the underbrush. A terrified look washed across his face as she disappeared into an emerald meld of vegetation, and before he could react, something heavy struck him from behind. His eyes began to blur and limbs began to wobble before slowly being overcome with darkness. When he woke, the sun was gone, his party amiss, and the vicious howls were but a distant sound amongst the cool breeze. The forest fell silent, as if nothing had happened, as if it hadn't fed on his kin. Gathering his senses one by one, Tavren pulled himself to his feet, shaking and struggling to make sense of what had befallen his comrades. Scanning the darkening surroundings, peering carefully into the blackness, shapes moved quietly within. Suddenly, a scream echoed into reality, one Tavren knew, but doubted.